So, I know I'm late to a bunch of shit. I'm always late to this shit, man. I just saw on Twitter, I got like recommended this post. The wave plate system that is going to be implemented in, I think, 1.2. Don't take my word on it though. I am not completely sure if that I'm being like accurate or not. Like with these leakers, sometimes it's like something comes later on, right? But I wanted to talk about it because obviously I didn't see it before. Now I can make it into content. But other than that, this is such a huge quality of life change that not many people appreciate, right? If you're someone who plays these games every day on the daily, I completely understand if you don't really care about this because you're already using your wave plates or resin every single day. But to someone like me, obviously this won't apply to me right now. Right now I am making a bunch of videos on all these gacha games, so I'm playing them every single day and farming and making sure I'm getting all the pulls I can, right? So I can make a bit of content. But before I started, or I came back to this YouTube channel in order to make content, I was an avid, how should I say it? How do you call someone who constantly takes breaks from games? Basically, I wouldn't take games that seriously, right? I'd play 1 to 2 hours a day at max, and some days I wouldn't even turn on my computer like at all, because I become a lot more of a casual lately, where I have like IRL stuff that I have to deal with, and there's also other things I prefer to do, like watch content creators, as Mingled, Tectone whenever he's not getting one guide in the chat, Mr. Pokey. Honestly, I know I made that video on EO and I criticized him, but a lot of EO's videos I actually find like enjoyable to an extent. Now I've gotten to a point, right? I no longer watch guide content. Like I'm gonna be straight up with you. I've completely given up on just watching guide content. It's so repetitive and boring, and it's like, what if I just look into this character's kit for 5 minutes and then I go on with my life, right? Like that's basically the mentality I have these days. I don't know, like I've been consuming guide content for like a year straight because I was always like too lazy to just understand the shit myself, and it started getting boring, right? Like sure, some of these guide content creators have a personality, like Braxophone. I'll watch like Braxophone's videos like halfway because of his personality and like his jokes and the things he integrates in there, but the rest of them not really, right? There's just no point unless it's like a leaker who's saying like, oh, this guy in this banner is coming out. Like EOD Gamer, like he's pretty good at predicting banners, so I do watch him for HSR for that. But anyways, I'm getting off track, or yeah, I'm getting off track. The reason this is so big for someone like me is I used to constantly take breaks from these games, and especially in HSR, right? Mostly in HSR. In HSR, I'd constantly take like 1 to 2 week breaks off the game. And when I'd come back, being able to have like max resin to just spend on whatever I want is so like good. It just feels amazing, right? I just come back, I either farm relics for, let's say, my Sparkle, my Ting Young, because those two really need relics right now, or I farm more traces for my Firefly or my Don Hung or my Sparkle. Basically, it gives you a lot of stuff to do after taking a long break from the game, which is nice because that's what you want as a returning player, right? You want to invest some time into the game again and remember why you liked it and get into the grind and the feel of it again. Genshin has this issue. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not updated on Genshin, but I'm pretty sure the cap is like 160 resin, and they don't have this overflow system. I think the max you can have is like 4 or 5 condensed resin, and that's not really an overflow system because you have to do it yourself, right? It's not any overflowed resin. It's just resin you had in that moment. So I don't really count it, right? But I'm someone who values this a lot, as I said, because of all this and how lazy of a gamer I used to be. So Wua implementing this into their game is very, very nice, and they're actually making it better because in Honkai Star Rail, it's every 6 minutes usually you regenerate a resin. However, in Honkai Star Rail, the overflow system is every 18 minutes you get 1 overflowed resin. However, in Wuwa, they're making it so that it's every 12 minutes instead of 18 like HSR. So they're improving on it. So now every 12 minutes you get 1 resin guaranteed no matter what, versus HSR, which was every 18 minutes you get 1 resin, which is huge, right? Now people can do what I used to do, which is take like a 1-week break from this game, come back and have capped resin to just spend on whatever they want, and they really didn't lose out on all of that much, right? Like, it's very important to have a system like this for people who are more busy in life or simply aren't dedicated enough to play the game every day. And I'm glad Kuro is looking at it from that perspective, the same as me, right? I think one thing I really need to praise Kuro on is that these gacha games sometimes have a problem where Hoyo will be the standard, and instead of trying to create a new standard, these gacha games will just follow Hoyo, right? They'll follow every standard that they made without making it better, sometimes even making it worse. However, Kuro, so far, on every note they've taken, everything they've taken from Genshin or all these other games they took inspiration from, they've just straight up made it better. Like, it's so fucking nice having a company who isn't afraid to just make things easier for the player and more enjoyable for the player. It's very, very nice, especially in these gacha spaces. Like, these companies can be very, very stingy with how should I say it, like, kind they are with their player base. Like, sometimes they can be very, very stingy, and it's very normalized as well. For example, I've already mentioned it in a video, because this video is going to be scheduled to come out at probably like 8 p.m. or something, and currently it is 9:52 in the morning for me. I'm going to sleep in like an hour or two. I just want to pump this video out real quick because I had the idea. But I was getting people in my comments telling me Genshin's reward pacing is good. Yeah, you heard that right. Basically, he said he finds Genshin's shittier rewards than Wuwa actually better. Like, what does reward pacing even... I'm not gonna go on a rant. But yeah, there are some people out there who are delusional enough to defend a company giving them shittier rewards simply because they're used to it. And this applies to all aspects of the game, right? So don't just expect it for people to say it for rewards, right? And I don't know, like, straight up Kuro fucking W, man. Like, this is so huge. I'm so glad, like, I made this my main gacha game, because this company fucking listens. Like, it's so nice, man. It's so nice having a team of devs that actually listen to their player base. Now we have the wave play system. We're getting free 5 stars. I'm sure they'll do something crazy for the anniversary. Sure, it's very far away, but I'm very hopeful from how generous they've been. You could literally log on this game right now and get a 5-star standard banner selector. Like, this game's generosity knows really no bounds. And I do want to say that this should be the standard. Yes, Wuwa is way more generous than every other company. However, this is how generous I expect most of these gacha games to be, considering how predatory they are, right? For a lot of people, this may be a hot take. For a lot of people, they see me praise Kuro and the rewards so much, and they might think that I think they're like overly generous, right? I think this should be the standard and the normal generosity rate of a gacha game. I'm gonna be straight up, right? Because we're so used to being fed shit by Hoyo and all these other gacha games that there was a standard created without people even realizing it. So now everyone's like, oh, Kuro, they're being so fucking... I see people complain about Kuro's rewards and say that we're being spoiled or some shit. This is not being spoiled. This is being finally rewarded for having to put up with the bullshit that these gacha games have put us through all these years, right? Kuro is finally feeding us well, And that is why I love Kuro. They are changing the standard for these gacha games, and I fucking love them for it. Because guess what's gonna happen, right? All these years, all this time, people have been using HoYo as the standard for rewards in their gacha games. So what do you think will happen in the future if WoWo continues to grow and grow and grow, and it starts to be on par or even farther in sales and popularity than HSR or Genshin? Then other gacha games are also going to take notes, because let's be honest, it's a very common thought even in the current gacha community that if you give the players more rewards, they will spend less money on the game. However, people don't understand that it's a back and forth thing, right? Like, this is loyalty. If the devs are more generous and to the players will be more loyal to the game, right? And of course, the more rewards a player has, the better, because they have higher chances of getting more characters and more weapons to test with. I saw a lot of people from the Genshin community coping that they were saying something along the lines of, oh, you shouldn't be able to get a character every single patch, or too much every single patch, because then you have to farm traces for too long and it gets annoying. And it's like, no, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, where did you even get this from? What are the mental gymnastics being done here? It's so impressive that it genuinely, like, amazes me. Like, I'm not even trolling. I don't even get mad at it. I'm just, like, amazed, right? Like, it's like, wow. Like, you are a next level shill. But anyways, I'm getting a bit toxic. I'm getting a bit toxic and off topic now. Yeah, basically, Kuro is setting the standard for these gacha games for being way more generous with the players, and now they're setting the standard for the overflow resin system. I can't fucking wait to see what else they innovate in the future and what they add in the future to compete with these other games. What do I think the next thing will be? Probably an endgame mode. Now, I know for many that might seem a bit ambitious, considering we're only in, what, 1.1 of the game, and we already have 2 endgame modes, that being Tower of Adversity as well as Elusive Realm. However, HSR recently came out with Apocalyptic Shadow, and I think that WoA might implement something similar into the game. Now, what do I think they'll implement? I think this might be me. You know those One Piece fans that call Oda like this foreshadowing genius because he made some doodle in like chapter like 10, and then it ends up coming up again in like chapter 1000, and people call him like the Jesus of foreshadowing in manga. I'm doing the same with Kuro here. The current event, Tactical Simulacra, is a boss event where you go into rotations of fighting different bosses. Basically, you fight this Crownless, then you fight this monkey, and then you fight this guy. Now, doesn't it sound a bit familiar? Apocalyptic Shadow in HSR is mainly a boss themed endgame mode, right? You basically go straight to the bosses and instantly fight them. So I have cope and confidence at the same time. I have hopium for Kuro to add a third endgame mode where you just straight up fight the bosses, right? So then we have 3 endgame modes to get more rewards off of, because if the current patch is anything to go off of for future rewards and future patches, we will be getting around 70 limited pulls every patch, and that's still less than HSR, right? Like, sure, this game gives more weapon banner pulls as well as it gives more standard banner pulls. However, that's not enough to make up for like the 20 difference in limited banner pulls. So I'm hopeful they will end up adding another endgame mode so that they can be on par or possibly even better than HSR when it comes to limited pull rewards, right? Now, the reason I'm not complaining about the smaller pull rewards this patch than the previous ones, I mean, it should be obvious, right? We're getting a free 5-star Zhang Liao, at least it's rumored. He's going to be in an event, and once we complete the event, we basically get him. And you really just can't complain about a free 5-star. It's like, wow, bro, I got 10 pulls less than HSR, but a 5-star, like, I'm still going to complain. Like, I'm just not going to complain, right? But I do hope they end up adding this third endgame mode. So yeah, quick video. Just want to let you guys know about the wave plate thingy. A way better system than HSR. Significantly better than Genshin, who doesn't even have this system to begin with. And yeah, hope you all have a great day. Hope you all have a great night. And peace.